the election comes up in the even years, in May, in even years, the statutes say 63 days prior to the election day, so 2 months prior to the election day, if you don't have more people running than positions open, you cancel the election, and the people that are running just get put into the position. And we've found,
it kind of makes sense in a way that if there's 5 people running for 5 slots,
right,
it's not like there's a whole lot of choice
here's
there.
what's missing, and this is actually something the legislature had a chance to take a crack at last time. First of all, people don't know, electors don't ever get actual notice. It's often held on private property, and so not only did they not get notice when they bought, but it's not a normalized election, it's not coordinated, it's off cycle, and as far as knowing who can run, how to file your paperwork to run, how to show up at regularly scheduled meetings to decide if you're even being represented well, and if you might like to run and challenge an existing board member to do this, you could not have less transparency.
And in addition,
it's just not there. So I mean, the fact that it's a joke, it's setting itself up on the self-fulfilling prophecy to make sure nobody knows about it, so you'll never have, very often you won't have any contested slots for those 5, which means way more often than not you actually don't even have an election at all, controlling the biggest budget in the state.
How many of these elections are canceled? Again, we're talking about a government that has up to $1 billion worth of debt. How many of these elections are canceled?
Since 2000, an average of 76%. In 2006, it was 81% were canceled.
81% of these elections are canceled.
And it's also scary because the statutes say that the elections could be held outside of district boundaries. So in addition to everything that Morgan just said, you can hold the election in, I don't know, maybe not Utah, but pretty close.
5 guys have an office in downtown Denver. They own a bunch of land up in Greeley. They say, well, we don't have to go to Greeley. We're the guys voting. We'll vote here.
Right.
I guess there's some sense about that. But let me ask you, is this because it's the only way for a developer to be able to get new developments built? Is there some issue here when it comes to growth control, urban growth boundaries, that you need now a government to be able to build in new areas?
No, flat out I don't think so. We enable it so they use it because of course it's risk-free capital for them. And meanwhile, here's why you find cities and county governments a little complicit, if you will, in doing this. It relieves them of, they can take their same tax revenue, but think about it this way, if they can pull out services that the cities and counties might otherwise provide, like water, sanitation, fire departments, things that historically used to be attached to city or county governments. Now, without going to the people, they may have the same net amount of tax they're getting, but suddenly they can parcel off these services in these fairly privatized governments and free up another part of their tax budget for doing this. But there's nothing under current law now that a developer and investor can't work the way they always have since the founding of this country, which is getting investors, getting capital either through banks or getting a team of investors and just build it.
Government shouldn't be the banker for developers? Is that what you're suggesting?
That is what I'm suggesting.
You're not going to make many friends with that, Morgan. Let me tell you. When she says something about the cities and counties, do they have to go to the county and say, we'd like to have this vote? Is that how that works?
If the metro district is entirely within the region of the municipality, it falls under a municipal rule. If it's a foot outside of the municipality, then it goes to the county commissioners.
So in other words, I'm doing it inside of the city of Boulder. I want a special district or metro district inside Boulder. I go to the city council. I got 1 square foot that goes outside of the city limit.
You don't.
So I go to the county commissioner. And you're saying that the commissioners have an incentive here because then, at least in that area, with my massive amount of debt, I'll be able to take care of these services, and you guys won't be on the hook. So they've got an incentive here.
That's right. It's really sort of a backdoor. I mean, it frees up a lot of their revenue to spend on other things. And because as we've funded things less directly, it's become a very weird backdoor. Now, that's not to say all cities and counties. I've heard some elected folks at those levels that actually believe that special districts have gone and run amok. But that being said, when the cities in particular, I know for Aurora, we're very dependent on tap fees, and you know we're building like crazy. So this is, in their view, they think it's a win-win situation because they can get all this stuff built. They don't feel like they have to fund it, and they can attract developers there to do that. Now, whether you think it's a good thing or the right way to do it, but they feel like they are holding on to more of their tax base and frankly shoving it off to the side to let someone else fund.
We've only got a few minutes left, so let's let's look to the future. We've obviously got a situation here where we have explosive amounts of new governments that have perhaps $250 billion worth of debt that they could pull in, and people living in these metro districts that might not even realize it. So give me some solutions. What do you think women like this in the position of power are supposed to do?
I believe wholeheartedly that it is a transparency and accountability issue. I've been running with the mantra of visible votes, visible documents. They're not, the governments are not communicating with DOLA. They're not
DOLA is the Department of
right.
Local Affairs.
Yeah, the governments are not communicating with the city council who approved them, or the county commissioners. County commissioners aren't asking for the documents they need to look at the financial stability of these governments, which are over 20% are in financial or have financial warning signs. So
says who?
Says the Office of the State Auditor.
State Auditor says 20% of these
20%.
metro districts are in financial trouble, or they have
Right.
warning signs that they could be in financial trouble, and nobody's noticing
Right.
this?
There's no communication between the departments, and so it's a transparency issue. They need to be submitting the documents every year. The documents need to be online so people can see them. Future residents need to know what they're getting into. DOLA has a great little packet online that's a little packet that says, for prospective homebuyers, look at this. This is what you need to be asking about. This is what you need to know. And also the visible votes thing. I mean, it's just the 81% canceled elections is ridiculous.
We're canceling elections with $250 billion worth
Right.
of potential debt here. All right, lady, you're the one in control.
Right.
Your party's in control.
Right.
What are you going to do about it, Toots?
All right, so right now, until we get this fixed in the short term, people who want to find out their special district implications should start with their county assessor's office. It's different for every county, and they should also, when buying a house, ask your realtor to specifically look up your special districts and help you compute it. That is not a solution. That is a stopgap Band-Aid until we get this fixed legislatively.
Because nothing says those districts can't go into massive debt
That's
later,
right.
in which case you're on the hook and you don't even know.
Most of your viewers at this point are living in probably multiple special districts and don't even know what their potential tax liabilities would be. Now, for next legislative session, there's a couple things we really worked out that we could do if we can get the votes to do it. One is actual notice to every eligible elector every time, putting the documents online, putting basically greater oversight on the finances, on the total unauthorized debt that can be out there, and making sure that people know when regularly held meetings are and who elects them. So we can do a lot with transparency.
We're out of time. This is a hot issue, and I don't think many people realize what it is. Morgan Carroll, thank you. Justin Longo, thank you. For more information, check us out on the Independence Institute website, independenceinstitute.org. Tell a friend. We'll see you next week.
You jibber jab, bamboozle, nuka noozle, bippity bop, she-call. You jibber jab, bamboozle, nuka noozle, bippity bop, she-call. I mean, you keep on talking, but you don't know where to turn it off.